Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Deanna and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about mental health, specifically burnout or mental exhaustion. And this is something that hits close to home because it's something that I struggle with all the time. And I just want to talk to you guys about different ways that you can identify that you're dealing with mental exhaustion or that you're experiencing burnout, and different ways that I personally deal with it and things that you could probably benefit from if you struggle with it as well. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is how to identify that you're struggling with burnout or mental exhaustion or emotional exhaustion. The first key indicator for me is being completely unmotivated. And what that looks like for me is sometimes in the morning, I'll just sit on my bed and literally not want to do anything. And it's not a matter of like, I don't want to go to work, I hate my job or anything like that, because I love my job. It's more so like genuinely lacking the motivation to get off of my bed. And it's not so much like, oh, I'm lazy, I just want to like go back in bed and fall asleep, or I'm tired, or I want to do something else. It's literally me sitting on the edge of my bed and not wanting to do absolutely anything. This is an extremely vulnerable video for me because I'm obviously being vulnerable. I'm talking to you guys about something that I struggle with, and I feel like oftentimes people don't want to talk about the state of their mental health. And this is something that I've heard about in like so many different places or on so many different platforms where people talk about how when you're sick and a doctor prescribes you medicine, you take it and you're not embarrassed of it, you're not ashamed of it because you're sick and you want to get better. But when it comes to mental health, if a doctor's prescribing you medication, then all of a sudden it's taboo and nobody wants to talk about it. I personally don't take medication for anything, although some might say that I probably should. So yeah, I mean, I've already started this video, but I kind of just want to preface the rest of it with saying that I am going to be all over the place. I might get a little too emotional and I apologize, but it is what it is. This is real. This is life. The next indicator for me that I'm like going through a lot is having anxiety or panic attacks. If you've never experienced one, it's kind of hard for you to understand what someone is going through when they're having one. And it's just, there's nothing that really brings them on. When you're feeling emotionally exhausted, when you're feeling burnt out, having anxiety and panic attacks seem to be brought on by nothing. You'll just be driving home and all of a sudden you'll have the worst possible thought, or you'll remember something that you were supposed to have done or something that you need to do and won't be able to get done or whatever it is. And it's this negative feeling that's intensified, multiplied on an unimaginable level. I feel like there are different varying levels of intensity when it comes to anxiety and panic attacks. I've had anxiety attacks where my entire body is shaking. I feel sick to my stomach as if I want to throw up. The room is spinning. I feel cold. Luckily, thankfully, I haven't had very many of those, but it's definitely real. It's definitely scary. And people telling you that it's gonna be okay or that you'll get through it, it's not very helpful. Another sign would be having trouble sleeping, being an insomniac, I guess you'd say, not being able to fall asleep, not being able to stay asleep. Definitely huge indicators. For me personally, I sleep with my Apple Watch on every single night, and I have an app that monitors my sleep, and every day I'll get a report telling me whether I had good sleep or bad sleep, average sleep, whatever. And I'll notice that when I'm like going through a lot or feeling kind of like off, I typically don't get good sleep. Now, you might say that I feel off because I didn't get good sleep, but I mean, it's all co-entangled, it's all related. One of the biggest like signs for me is not having patience, and this one hurts. This one hurts a bit to say because when I'm feeling really burnt out and really tired, I do not have patience for my family. It's easy when you're at work to put on a facade and make it seem like everything's okay, unless you're super cool with your coworkers and they know that something's off. But I notice that when I'm experiencing emotional exhaustion, I am super short with both Ricky and Mia, and it's not fair to them, but like the smallest thing will set me off. Any little thing, the smallest noise, like if they're chewing something a certain way, and it'll just like set me over the top. If Mia's like bouncing her ball too high, it'll set me over the top. Like it's literally no patience at all whatsoever. Like I don't want to sit in traffic. Patience, yeah, okay, that's one thing, but I mean like just literally simple everyday things that should not be that big of a deal end up becoming like the end of the world for me, like literally life and death. And I know it seems like it's dramatic, but like when you're experiencing this, you have no control over it. Like it's just what it feels like. This next sign could be tied in with the panic anxiety attack type of thing, which would be indigestion or the feeling of having butterflies in your stomach, that uneasy, queasy feeling. And for some people it's more painful, like it would be more of like my stomach hurts and I don't know why. Like I don't have to use the bathroom, I'm not hungry, I'm not sick, but my stomach hurts and I can't get it to stop. And it's just, again, when you're feeling emotional or mental stress, it starts to manifest itself in body pains, whether it's your stomach hurting or your head hurting or your back hurting. Like eventually any internal emotional stress or mental stress will manifest itself into physical pain. I know that from personal experience. I know that from seeing others battle with their emotional mental stuff. It always ends up showing itself physically. Another huge sign for me would be to just start crying unexpectedly, like unwarranted, with no other reason like having caused it, if that makes sense. It's just like a lot of words I'm spitting out, but like I feel like for me personally, it's one of two things. Either I'm feeling so much stress, so much emotion, being overwhelmed, whatever it is, that I'll go one of two routes. Either I'll let the emotions overcome me and I'll just cry for no reason. Like literally just cry for no reason out of nowhere. Like I'll just be like, you know, toasting bread or making myself a cup of coffee and then just start crying. And it's just because there's just too much going on. Like there's just too much in my head, too much just, it's one of the worst feelings. But I have to say that there is some kind of feeling of release or relief when I do cry, because I feel like all of the tension, everything that I've been bottling up inside finally has a way to just kind of like come out. Obviously, I don't think it's healthy to cry for no reason, but if you're feeling a lot of feelings and emotions and stresses, then sometimes it can be a little cathartic to just let it out. Now, the last sign that I want to talk to you guys about today is the feeling of being detached from reality, being detached from the world around you, a feeling of emptiness, I guess you'd say. I experienced this very recently, and I had never felt like that before, and it was probably one of the worst feelings. But it was just a feeling of complete numbness. I just, in that moment, again, and when these things happen, they seem to be brought on by nothing. Like, when this happened to me, I was at work at my desk, like getting my job done, and out of nowhere, I just zoned out. Like, I just felt completely and utterly numb. And then I started to see all of these different signs that I've been talking to you about manifest themselves. I just felt unmotivated. I didn't want to do the task that I was working on at that time anymore. I didn't want to get up and take a break. I didn't want to turn my computer off and go home. Like, I didn't want to do anything. I just sat there, numb, not angry, not sad, not tired, not happy, no emotion, not happy emotions or sad emotions or anything between. I just literally felt like a blob. And when I had acknowledged that that's what I was feeling, that's when I started to feel the hurt. That's when I started to feel a little bit of anxiety. Like, why am I feeling like this? What brought this on? Why is this happening? And it's one of those things that, like, when you start to realize what it is that you're dealing with, it kind of sucks because you start to notice, like, well, what brought this on? Like, what's going on here? That's part of the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about, is when you're feeling this way, like, how do you deal with it? Or how do you get to a point where you're not dealing with it as much? Or how can you prevent it from happening altogether? The first thing is going to be, like, accepting what it is that you're feeling, accepting the exhaustion, accepting the burnout, accepting your breakdown, just accepting it for what it is, and knowing that you're okay and you're fine right where you are. There's no need to be ashamed. There's no need to be embarrassed. There's no need to feel alone. So many people struggle with being mentally exhausted, with being emotionally exhausted. Honestly, I feel like it's just the society that we live in now. Like, we're just always go, go, go. Like, don't stop. Either you're hustling to get your money, or you have kids and you got stuff you gotta do. Like, you're just always on the go, always trying to do something, get something done. And I feel like people are ashamed to admit that there's something wrong with being overwhelmed or being sad or whatever. And I just want you guys to know that there is nothing wrong with you if you're experiencing any of these things. Like, honestly, more people than you know are experiencing some type of anxiety or depression or mental exhaustion, burnout. Like, people are struggling with this. The next thing that you'll have to do is try to establish why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. Is it a particular person in your life that you need to cut out, be it a relationship, a family member, your job even? Is there something in your life, a clear, pinpoint, individual, object, place, thing, whatever, that is causing you to feel this way? If so, you need to cut it out. Cut that person out. Find a new job. Kill that relationship. Like, you just need to identify what it is that's causing you to feel that way and eliminate it from your life. Now, that's not always that easy, right? But you have to figure out why it is that you're feeling the way you're feeling. For me, I feel like oftentimes, I mean, I might have like other issues beyond this, but for this topic right now, I know that when I feel emotionally exhausted or I feel burnt out, it's when I have way too many things on my plate. It's when I'm overcommitting and underachieving, essentially. It's when I'm saying yes to all the church groups. It's when I have to stay at work late. It's when my daughter has things going on outside of our regular lives. It's a lot. It's a lot. And you have to figure out why it is that you're feeling the way you're feeling. And that leads us into our next step, which is establishing solutions. So once you've identified that one thing that's making you feel tired, exhausted, whatever, and again, this is all in regard to like your mental, emotional stability, you have to figure out what is the solution to that problem. If you have a family member that's causing you to feel emotionally stressed, overwhelmed, burnt out, you need to eliminate that relationship with that person. If you are in a relationship with someone and they're causing you to feel this way, you need to leave that person. If you have kids with this person or you're married to this person and you can't just like dip out and walk out, then you need to find a way to communicate with them what it is that you're feeling and why you're feeling that way, and hopefully come to an agreement or a type of solution on how you guys can work together on coming out on top. Because the reality is, if you have a child with someone, or if you're married to someone, you guys have already taken that step and committed to each other that you're gonna be together for, you know, as long as you can. So if you're experiencing some type of mental or emotional exhaustion, then the person that you're with, your partner, should be willing and wanting to help you out of it, or help each other out of it. It should be a combined team effort. If it's your job that's causing you this, you need to find another job. No job is worth you losing your mental stability. No job is worth you feeling any of the signs that I've listed before. No job is worth that. Like, you can find a job somewhere else. Honestly, even if it's a pay cut, like, I can never understand people who prioritize like a dollar amount over their mental sanity. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, sure, you're going to work and you're collecting a check and you're doing all of this, but like, at what cost? For you to be mean to your family, for you to, you know, have no patience, for you to not have sleep, and for your body to be breaking down at the end of it. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Another thing that I feel like people don't do and need to do is like take a time out. If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, all of these things that we keep talking about, you need to take a break. Whatever that looks like for you. I have a great relationship with my boss, and like, since I've worked for him, I've asked him, I think at least once, if I could take a mental health day. In the state of California, I don't know where you guys live, but in the state of California, that's a legitimate reason to take a sick day, is a mental health day. Like, it sounds crazy, but if you genuinely struggle with mental health issues, if you genuinely struggle with burnout, like, that's a legitimate reason. You cannot get in trouble with your employer for taking a sick day for mental health reasons. And like, sometimes you need to do it. Like, you just have to do it. You know, like, if your job is just getting too stressful, obviously you have projects and deadlines to complete. You can't just like dip out and be like, oh, I'm gonna take a break today. Like, be responsible, of course, but like, when time permits, take a break, take a vacation, take a weekend trip, take a day trip. Like, do something, but take a break from whatever it is that's causing you to lose your mental sanity, essentially. We as a society, as humans, need to take care of ourselves. We need to be nicer to ourselves. I know in the age of social media, when it's easy to compare yourself to others, it's hard to do that, but like, we need to just like remember who we are. We need to be able to be nice to ourselves and uplift ourselves, because just be nice to yourself. As I was mentioning earlier, more people than you know are dealing with some type of mental struggle, with some type of emotional struggle. And it's important that you confide in someone or get support from someone. There has to be someone in your life that you can talk to comfortably about what it is that you've been experiencing, whether it's a family member or a friend, there is professional help out there. There are free clinics that you can look up and attend and talk to someone about. There are paid professionals you can talk to someone about. This issue is so prevalent in today's society that like, there are apps that you can download to talk to someone about the way that you've been feeling. Like, just confide in someone, find someone, get the support that you need. I have to honestly say that, and I apologize if you don't have the same beliefs as I do. I'm not trying to push anything on you. I swear I'm not. But like, if there's no one around in that immediate time that I feel that I can talk to, I have God. I talk to God through prayer, and it would be silly of me to not tell you guys that the amount of peace that I get from prayer is just astounding, honestly. Another thing you can do to help with your emotional, mental stress would be to motivate / nurture your creative side. When you have a lot of emotions and feelings, it's easy to keep it bottled up inside, but there's, again, some type of release that you can do to help kind of get all of that out of you without having to emotionally or unexpectedly start crying in the middle of your kitchen. Whether it's drawing or coloring, like I know you guys have seen those adult coloring books. That, honestly, when I'm feeling super down, one of the best things that I do, listen to worship music. Again, if you don't believe in God or whatever, just listen to other music that makes you happy. Don't listen to sad music. Sad music is not gonna help you out of your funk, but like listen to like up-tempo, upbeat, like music that's gonna get you out of feeling low, you know? One thing for me that has helped, and I think can benefit a lot of people, is learning to say no and setting boundaries. You don't have to say yes to everyone, to everything that they ask for, to every favor, to whatever. Like, you don't have to say yes. If someone invites you somewhere, or if someone asks you to do something for them, or, you know, like, just learn to say no. I was feeling extremely overwhelmed with work. I had a lot of stuff to do at my own work site, and my boss asked me to help him somewhere else. And as much as I wanted to, you know, remain in his good favor and like all that stuff, I had to realize that if I said yes to him, I would only be causing more stress and anxiety for myself down the line. So I respectfully said no. I told him respectfully why I said no. And like, honestly, it helped me catch up with my stuff that I had to do at my job. And, you know, that other location ended up being okay. But it's just a matter of knowing, like, you don't always have to say yes to everyone. You don't always have to please everyone. Like, just take care of the stuff that you got to take care of and move on. Probably the last thing that I want to talk about is limiting your screen time. In the dawn of like social media, using Facebook, using Instagram, using Snapchat, using TikTok, using YouTube, Pinterest, all of the things that are out there, it's so easy to compare yourself to someone else and see all the things that you don't have and see all the things that you wish you had, all the things that you want and can't get, and it's just honestly defeating. So, I mean, not only are you like charging yourself negatively, emotionally, seeing all of the things that you wish you could get but can't, like obviously that's not good for anyone. So the last reason why I would say that it's important to limit your screen time is because of the amount of time wasted on screen time. Scrolling, watching videos, whatever it is that you do when you're using your phone, it's just a waste of time that you could be doing other things on. And like, I get it, when you're not feeling yourself, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling emotionally exhausted or burnt out, like you don't want to do other things, you don't want to think, but like find other ways to fill your time. Like read a book, listen to music, do other things that are essentially like boosting your mind, boosting your brain. Like don't do things that are just going to continue to like keep your brain on that low level, on that like, you know, just whatever. I don't know. It's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to feel burnt out. It's easy to just kind of let your emotions take over, but you have to remember that your brain, your mind is inside of you and you control it. Like there are, of course, external factors that, you know, contribute to the way you're feeling, but at the end of the day, your brain is your own, your mind is your own, and you can control it. If you do need to take a medical prescription to deal with your brain, then do it. Like it's your responsibility to take care of your mind. Whatever it is that you have to do, do it. And you know, find someone that you can confide in, whether it's a friend or a medical professional or whatever. Like find someone that'll support you, find someone that'll help you through it. You're not alone in this world, so you should never feel like you're alone. And yeah, I mean, overall, I just want you guys to acknowledge that like if you are experiencing any of these things, it's okay. 1, you're okay. 2, find someone, anyone, find something that motivates you, find someone that motivates you. Just find something that will help pull you out of this rut. I think I just want everyone to know that they're not alone, that you're okay, you're normal, there's nothing wrong with you. That's pretty much it. that's all for today. I feel like this video ended kind of like, but I don't know, mental health isn't really a glamorous topic to talk about, so it is what it is. I just want to shed light to the situation and say that there are things that you can do, there is help that you can get, and like, just because you're going through a bad time doesn't mean you have to stay in that bad time. It doesn't mean you have to continue to live in your negative thoughts. Like, you can get out of them. You will be okay. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you for watching this video. If there are other topics that you guys want me to discuss, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get educated on them and we can talk about them together. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one.